Oh, it's another day here at the Comeback Team Studios, and this is an emergency broadcast. As you may have heard by now, the dock workers, that means all the people that work in the ports on the eastern seaboard of the United States of America, have decided to go on strike at a very critical time in this country. I highly recommend you go out there and purchase the things that don't go bad or spoil that you might need over the next few months, because none of us know how long this strike will go on. You must understand that the United States of America imports a lot of the products that we use every day in our lives. Think of the most important things that you can't live without, that your children need, that your family needs. It may be medicine that comes in from overseas. I know a lot of antibiotic comes from India. You got to understand something. When these workers go on strike, that means nothing comes into the country. Nothing. There's no one to offload all that cargo, put it on 18-wheelers, and send it out to the stores and places that you shop at. That means if this strike continues, very soon we're going to have massive shortages here in the United States. You're going to have prices skyrocketing. So I highly recommend you take that trip down to Costco, whatever store you need to go to. Think of things you need, maxi pads or whatever it is. If you're a woman, if you have menstrual cycle, whatever it is that you might need that we don't produce here. And even if we do produce things here, a lot of the raw products and materials that we need to make come from around the world. Bananas come from Guatemala. Like, obviously, we can't store bananas for months, but what are the most critical things that you and your family need during this time? I highly recommend, with this dock worker strike going into effect, and no one really knows how long it will last, that you go and purchase the things you need for the next couple of months, because this has the potential to really cripple the American economy. It means even if we can make things here, if we're not getting the raw materials that we need from other countries to produce these things, you're going to feel the impact. Think of the things that you and your children need and go out and buy them today before there is a massive inflation, before there are shortages. We've all seen what shortages can look like. For those of you that lived through Hurricane Sandy in New York City, that was just a couple of weeks. Also, during the beginning period of the shutdown in 2019, there was shortages and people fighting over toilet paper. Always be prepared, folks, because you never know what's going to happen in these volatile times. Not to mention, without these workers going on strike, we have a lot of messages coming out of the Middle East that conflict is about to expand, and that can affect shipping. You already have the Yemeni Houthis shooting cargo ships to retaliate against Israel. So it's really volatile out there, and your money is more powerful today because every minute it's diminishing in value. Let me read this article to you. Associated Press. Dock workers' strikes could push up prices and cause shortages if it lasts for weeks. Imagine if it lasts for months. Do any of us have a crystal ball? Are you aware? We don't know. That's why go buy that tomato sauce you need, that spaghetti that comes from Italy, the deodorant, whatever it is, because even if products are produced in the US, they need raw materials from across the globe. Like tires for your car. The rubber comes from Vietnam. From Maine to Texas, dock workers at 36 ports across the eastern US are on strike for the first time in decades. A work stoppage that could snarl supply chains and cause shortages and higher prices if it stretches on for more than a few weeks. Workers began walking picket lines early Tuesday in a strike over wages and the port's use of automation. Though some progress was reported in negotiations over a new contract, the existing contract between the ports and about 45,000 members of the International Longshoremen's Association expired at midnight. The strike comes just weeks before a tight presidential election and could become a factor in the race if shortages begin to affect many voters. I got to tell you, if I'm Kamala Harris, and the Democrats on the left, this would be at the top of my list, besides the response to all the natural disasters, which they're clearly looking like hypocrites, because they can send billions of dollars in arms and weapons to other countries while Americans have had their homes destroyed, their infrastructure, their electricity ravaged overnight. Billions of dollars sent to foreign nations for destruction and nothing for reconstruction right here home for the American people. In any event, if I was Kamala Harris, I'd get my ass down to the Longshoremen's Union, and I'd force a deal between them, and I'd step in with the federal government if possible, because if these shortages begin, I can tell you they're going to lose this election by a landslide, because it just shows you have no control, no authority, and you can't even keep the country running. Just like our government shuts down. And it almost shut down during Trump's time too, right? They couldn't reach deals. Why does the American government need to borrow money to stay open? Maybe we should stop sending billions of dollars to foreign nations to blow up other countries. Maybe we'd have a lot less enemies, a lot more money to help the American people, like healthcare and better roads and infrastructure. We've had bridges collapse in other states last year and the year before that. We had the bridge in Baltimore taken out by a freighter. Like, when is it going to be enough? But I blame you, my American, because we don't stand together. We're too busy fighting each other over religion, race, what we want to do in our bedroom, which shouldn't even be a public discussion at this point. Everyone has their rights. Nobody gives a fuck what you're doing in your bedroom. Seriously. And the last people that need to worry about it are children, just in my opinion. In any event, this thing could really get out of hand. As soon as I'm done with this, I am going to shoot down to Costco. I already have reserves for 6 months in the case of a catastrophic event. But, I'm going to go down there and get some shaving supplies, some things that you might not think of, that you might need if this thing goes on for more than a couple of months. Someone that's gone on for more than a few months, Jimmy Carter, the former U.S. president, formerly the worst president, only to be beaten by Joe Biden, in my opinion. Jimmy Carter turns 100. The first former president to reach the milestone. He has said he wants to hang on until October 15th when he can vote for Kamala Harris. I guess he wants to see if a second person can beat him for the worst president in U.S. history. Carter, who served one term in the White House, hit the milestone Tuesday at his home in Plains, Georgia, where he has been receiving hospice care for the last 19 months. The proud Democrat, who has grown increasingly weaker in recent months, has told relatives he wants to hang on till October 15th, when early voting begins in Georgia, so he can cast his ballot for Kamala Harris. I bet you half the country hopes you don't see that birthday. I'm not one of them. I never wish that upon anyone, but I bet you there's definitely some MAGA people that would say, well, I hope he never gets to cast that vote. That bastard. And now on to more challenging news. CNN reports the White House believes Iran is preparing imminent ballistic missile attack against Israel. Iran is poised to launch a ballistic missile attack on Israel soon. The White House warned Tuesday, instantly ratcheting up fears of an all-out war in the region. It already is an all-out war. Israel's already hit Lebanon, Gaza. They've hit Yemen, Syria, Iraq. It's an all-out war already. You mean it's just going to be even worse, is what you're saying, and probably pull the U.S. in, and maybe they draft our children. A direct military attack from Iran against Israel will carry severe consequences for Iran. Israel assesses that Iran is likely to attack 3 Israeli air bases and an intelligence base located just north of Tel Aviv. If I was Israel, I would just hit myself at this point and declare war on everybody. As of this moment, Israel does not perceive imminent threat from Iran, the IDF spokesperson Daniel Hagari said during a short video message. Israeli military planes are currently scanning the sky for any imminent threat from Iran. We are on peak alert, both on the offensive and the defensive, Hagari added, warning Iran that any attack on Israel would have consequences. What do you think? If I was a betting man, Iran's days are numbered before they are invaded. I think Israel's going to finish up with Lebanon, finish up with Gaza, and then they're going to focus all of their energy into toppling Iran's regime. The Times of Israel reports U.S. voices support for Israel destroying Hezbollah sites along the border, appearing to back IDF raids into Lebanon. And for those of you that are slow to the party, Israel has crossed into Lebanon, even though they already occupy the Golan Heights, which is a part of Lebanon that was taken. Syria. Sorry, but they have crossed into Lebanon. The Biden administration appears to express its support for the raids that the IDF began conducting late Monday night. We agreed on the necessity of dismantling attack infrastructure along the border to ensure that the Lebanese Hezbollah cannot conduct October 7th style attacks on Israel's northern communities. During the Monday call, the pair discussed Israel's latest military operations, and Austin made it clear that the United States supports Israel's right to defend itself. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. A green light. Do what you got to do, Israel, because America's going to pay for it. You're going to have an Iron Dome, but the Americans don't even have an Iron Dome. We're going to send you billions of dollars while our people are struggling after a storm. We're going to send you billions of dollars so you can then pump it into other organizations and NGOs like certain lobbying parties that start with an A and end with a PAC. Lebanese PM says willing to deploy army south of Litani River, fully implement UN resolution. Looks like the Lebanese are copping pleas already. The Lebanese government is ready to fully implement a UN resolution that aimed to end Hezbollah's armed presence south of Litani River, caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati says. Mikati says Lebanon is ready to fully implement the 2006 UN Security Council Resolution 1701 and deploy the Lebanese army south of the river, which lies about 30 kilometers from Lebanon's southern border. Hezbollah is barred under UN Security Council Resolution 1701 from maintaining a military presence south of Litani. However, the terror group has blatantly violated that resolution. Defense Minister Yoav Gallant strongly hinted today that the IDF was preparing to launch a ground offensive to remove the terror group from the border area and allow 60,000 displaced Israelis to return home in northern Israel. And I don't think Israel's going to stop or take that. I think they're going to go all the way and finish whatever they have planned. What I find interesting, though, if I was Lebanese, they definitely, or at least Hezbollah, they definitely have traitors amongst their midst or people that were turned into double agents. The fact they were able to carry out that pager attack, then the walkie-talkie attack, and then the bunker bomb of Nasrallah, who was hiding under a residential area. Clearly, there are people in their organizations that are either working for the intelligence communities or double agents of the Mossad or whoever, in my opinion. What do you think? Drop a comment. Like I said, they're talking about a wider regional war. It is a war. When you're dropping bombs on different countries like Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, like it's already a war in many countries. I mean, what the fuck do you call a war? Dropping bombs on other people. It's a fucking war. Al Jazeera reports Israeli strikes kill 3 civilians in Syria's Damascus state TV. State-run Syrian Arab news agency says TV anchor killed in Israeli attack on Syrian capital. 3 civilians have been killed and 9 others wounded in Israeli strikes on Syria's capital, Damascus. The Syrian Arab news agency early reported that its television anchor Safa Ahmed was killed on Tuesday in treacherous Israeli aggression targeting the Syrian capital. Footage posted on social media appeared to show a car engulfed in flames on the street surrounded by apartment blocks. It was not clear if the presenter was among 3 civilian casualties referred to by state media. And here's some footage from that. So they are bombing 4 nations at the same time. Now, you tell me that that's not war. And who do you think the aggressor is? Do you think Israel's defending themselves or they are the aggressor and the oppressor? Drop a comment below. PM to Iranians. I found this comical. Israel stands with you. You'll be freer sooner than people think. Times of Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu issued a rare direct message to the Iranian people on Monday saying Israel stands with you. It's funny because every time he says Israel stands with someone, he goes and bombs that country. And a lot of the people he claims to be standing with end up dying as collateral damage. I don't know. I mean, I'm all for being supported by Israel, like in essence, right? But does that mean I have to take your weapons being dropped on me and my family possibly being killed? I find it to be oxymoronical, or paradoxical is a better word. Every day you see a regime that subjugates you, makes fiery speeches about defending Lebanon, defending Gaza, yet every day that regime plunges our region deeper into darkness and deeper into war. Saying Iran's puppets were being eliminated, Netanyahu added, there was nowhere in the Middle East Israel cannot reach. There is nowhere we will not go to protect our people. Imagine if all the vast money the regime wasted on nuclear weapons and foreign wars were invested in your children's education, improving your health care. I would say the same to you, Israel. I would say it would be better if you spent some of that money. Maybe if you gave that money and maybe, I don't know, man, olive branch to the Palestinians somehow. I don't know, man. I really wonder if the Palestinians just said, you know what? We don't need our own country. We'll be a part of yours. We want equal representation in the Knesset. We want proportional voting rights based on the amount of Palestinians we are to the population, but they would never agree to that. I guarantee you, the way the Palestinians could prove that they're being liars is if they just said, you know what? We don't want our own homeland. Okay, fine. We agree to be Israeli citizens. We want general elections. We want as many votes as we have people. I know Israel would never take that deal, but it would show the world really who the aggressor is, in my opinion. And if Israel accepts that deal, then everyone can't say that they're the aggressor. This was from earlier this summer, I think. Actually, no, this took place a couple days ago. The Hill reports Russian fighter jet flies within feet of the U.S. F-16 near Alaska. The U.S. military is slamming Russia for an unsafe encounter in the skies off the coast of Alaska after footage released Monday shows a Kremlin fighter jet cutting off an Air Force F-16. The incident, which took place September 23rd, involved a Russian Su-35 fighter flying in the Alaska Air Defense Identification Zone in the international airspace where the F-16 was sent to intercept it. The F-16, which was assigned to North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, was initially shadowing a different Russian aircraft before the Su-35 sharply cut in front of it, coming within feet of the American fighter jet. In the video, the F-16 pilot can be heard exclaiming in surprise as the Russia fighter jumps in front of them. Sounds like the reverse of the movie Top Gun, the first one, where Maverick turns upside down and flicks off the Russian fighter jet. It looks like this fighter jet was Russian and he surprised the American fighter pilot. Anyway, things are really heating up. By the way, just a reminder, Putin just issued a draft for another 133,000 soldiers. He's drafting his youngest men. War is on the horizon in this world. Around the world, things are simmering to a point of boiling. Will we get through this peacefully, or will the world erupt into the worst war we have ever seen, or what others would call Armageddon? I found this article interesting, not because of the subject matter, just the title. 19thnews.org. How can you help women, children, and LGBTQ people impacted by Hurricane Helene? Like, why does someone's sexual preference need to be specified for them to get help? How about, do you want to just help people that are suffering from this catastrophe? Why does their sexual preference matter? Like, it's these subliminal messages that really show me that there's just an agenda to push this stuff, create division, create animosity between all groups. Like, I guess if I'm not LGBTQ, I don't deserve help from the hurricane. Like, all people. It doesn't matter what they do in their bedroom. If you want to help them, here's how you can help them. But it's this type of targeting, this type of subliminal messages that create chaos in the world. For those that were scared that Trump's laws were going to get abortion banned, judge blocks Georgia law banning abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy. A state court judge on Monday blocked a Georgia law banning abortion after about 6 weeks of pregnancy, finding it violated the rights to privacy and liberty guaranteed by the state constitution. The order from Fulton County's Superior Court Judge Robert McBurney allows abortions to resume for now. The law bans all abortions after a human heartbeat is detected, typically around 6 weeks before many women know they are pregnant. It was passed in 2019, but did not take effect until the U.S. Supreme Court in 2022 overturned its long-standing Roe versus Wade precedent, which had guaranteed abortion rights nationwide. And for those of you that don't remember, Trump overturned it and sent this ruling back to the states. I don't find a problem with that. Maybe there's some states that are more conservative. They believe in God. They're pro-life. Maybe there's certain states that are very liberal and they want to do different things. That should be on them. I am pro-life, except when forced or abuse. And I am for any type of abortion to be before 40 days in the cases of, abuse, incest, stuff like that. In Islam, for example, we believe the soul enters the womb on the 40th night, if I'm not mistaken. Please double check my information. Another guy whose life went to shit quicker than Diddy's, Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, is accusing the feds of illegally leaking grand jury information to the media and calls on a New York judge to intervene. Eric Adams accused the feds of leaking secret grand jury information to the media and called on the Manhattan judge overseeing his criminal case to intervene in a new motion filed early Tuesday. For nearly a year, the government has leaked grand jury material and other sensitive information to the media to aggrandize itself further in its investigation and unfairly prejudice the defendant, Mayor Eric Adams, the attorneys wrote in the newly filed motion. If I was a betting man, his days are limited. He will resign. And he definitely was targeted by someone higher up than him because he went against the agenda of migration and sanctuary cities. And it was only after he started speaking out against that these allegations miraculously fucking out of nowhere arised. I'm not defending the mayor, soon to be former mayor. I'm just telling you. Diddy has an X-rated video allegedly features a person more high profile than him. Ever since Diddy was arrested for racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking, internet users have somewhat tastelessly tried to link other celebrities to his heinous activity who may not have been named in any lawsuits. The pseudo witch hunters were seemingly onto something, as one of his recent accusers' attorneys learned that a more high profile person was featured in one of these X-rated videos. Ariel Mitchell Kidd represents a woman who claims that the Bad Boy founder physically took advantage of her in 2018 and appeared on News Nation's Banfield this past Friday to discuss what the woman allegedly endured plus the potential sale of this X-rated video. There already have been tapes leaking. God bless. Alhamdulillah. Thank you if you said God bless you. There already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood being shopped around. She stated that the video was recorded at his home in Atlanta, was X-rated in nature, and that the person in the video did not seem aware of the fact they were being recorded. Internet users have named people like Jay-Z. Now imagine, Diddy's probably one of the most famous people in the world. Who the hell could be more public or more well-known than Puff Daddy? Who's on this tape? Who do you think's on this tape? People think it's Jay-Z and Megan Fox and all these. Who do you think? Who could be more famous than Diddy? Jay-Z is, a little bit, I guess, but I would say they're on the same level. Who is more famous than Diddy that's in these X-rated videos? Let's listen to a soundbite of this, courtesy of Yahoo News and News Nation.
Recently contacted by someone who wanted me to essentially represent them in the sale of one of the Diddy tapes. So, which I declined that because...
Wait a minute. Say that again. Say that again. Back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is...
Yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of and to contact the person who was in the video to see if they were interested in purchasing the video before it became public knowledge.
I've heard this before. So like a catch and kill.
Catch and kill, correct.
Wow. Can you, and I guess you can't reveal the person who is on
No,
this
I can't
tape.
explain who the person was, but Mr.
High profile?
Mr. Combs was in the tape, and this other person is, I would venture to say, more high profile than Mr. Combs.
Really? Really? And you've seen it? Or
I've seen stills of the video.
Okay.
Wow.
So you can verify
that it exists, that it's real, that the other person in the video is very visible. It's no question if it's that person in the video. And I can tell the video was pornographic in nature.
Wow.
All right. So we know that
Interesting times indeed, my friends. Who's in this video that's more famous than Diddy with this entire scandal that's coming out? My God. And she's saying she's already seen still images of this video. Sounds like a lot of extortion and blackmails going on behind the scenes. People trying to shop these videos around and probably offering some of these high-profile people a chance to buy it before the world sees it. Someone that showed the world things that we would have never known, many of us consider a hero. Julian Assange says he chose freedom over unrealizable justice. WikiLeaks founder says he pleaded guilty to journalism and deal for his release and calls for protection of press freedom. Julian Assange has said he chose freedom over unrealizable justice as he described his plea deal with U.S. authorities and urged European lawmakers to act to protect freedom of expression in a climate with more impunity, more secrecy, and more retaliation for telling the truth. In his first public statement since the plea deal in June ended his nearly 14 years of prison, embassy confinement, and house arrest in the UK, the WikiLeaks founder argued that legal protections for whistleblowers and journalists only existed on paper. And I have to agree. We wouldn't have known about a lot of the horrible crimes that happened during a lot of the last wars and all this other stuff if people that are working in these departments don't have a safe place to tell the public. Okay? So, I mean, we would have never known what was going on in Iraq and all this other stuff. So, I'm happy he's free and hopefully he can continue doing some amazing work. China! Donald Trump. China! Xi vows reunification with Taiwan on the eve of Communist China's 75th birthday. Chinese leader Xi Jinping reiterated his pledge to achieve reunification with Taiwan on the eve of Communist China's 75th birthday as Beijing flexed its military might in the run-up to the national holiday. As a state banquet celebrating the founding of the People's Republic on Monday, Xi used his address to underscore his resolve to achieve the complete reunification of the motherland. It's an irreversible trend, a cause of righteousness and the common aspiration of the people. No one can stop the march of history, he told the thousands in attendance at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing, according to state-run news agency Xinhua. China's ruling Communist Party claims Taiwan as its own, despite having never controlled it, and has vowed to reunify with self-governing democracy by force if necessary. Those sound like fighting words. I hope the people of Taiwan are prepared for this now new superpower, thanks to the traitors in our government who allowed them into the World Trade Organization, allowed all of our military secrets and corporate technology to be stolen with all these double agents who were really working for the Communist Party in China to help their country get ahead technologically, and for allowing most of our manufacturing to go to them, and the American worker could not compete. Thank you to every politician, both right and left, who sold us out, who sent our men and women to die to fight against communism, only to open the door to the most powerful communist country and turn them into a superpower, and maybe a country one day we will have armed conflict with, especially if we want to back the people of Taiwan, which I do. My heart goes out to the people of Haiti. I have so many Haitian friends, from my brother Mitch at Drip BK in Brooklyn off Flatbush, to my friend Daniel Jean, who I met, who does those famous pranks. At one time, I did know Wyclef Jean, but have not spoken to him in years. My heart goes out to the people of Haiti, who continually suffer in some of the world's worst poverty, earthquakes, and now complete chaos as gangs squeeze the life out of the capital and beyond. Port-au-Prince, nearly 6,000 people in Haiti are starving, with nearly half the country's population of more than 11 million people experiencing crisis levels of hunger or worse as gang violence smothers life in the capital of Port-au-Prince. The number of Haitians facing crisis, emergency, and famine levels of hunger increased by 1.2 million in the past year for a total of 5.4 million as gang violence disrupts the transportation goods and prevents people from venturing out of their homes to buy food. This is one of the highest proportions of acutely feud, insecure people in any crisis around the world. UN spokesperson Stephanie Dujarric. Praying for the people of Haiti. Praying for you. May God bring peace to your nation. May you overthrow these criminals. May peace and blessings go to all my Haitian brothers and sisters around the world. Shout out to my man also. Amazing DJ. I love him. My brother. My brain is so fried right now. Francis Mercier. Shout out to my brother Francis Mercier. There's going to be some interesting things happening in the sky here in the U.S. over the next few weeks. But tomorrow starts. There's an annular solar eclipse tomorrow, October 2nd. This is reported by space.com. Here's what the time, Ring of Fire, annular solar eclipse on October 2nd, will occur, as well as the annular eclipse times and durations for locations in the path of annularity. An annular solar eclipse, that's the picture I'm showing you, and you should be watching these episodes on Spotify, on Rumble, on YouTube. Okay, so you can see the cool pictures and the videos and the articles that I source my information from. On October 2nd, the solar eclipse will be visible from parts of the southern hemisphere, although much of South America will see a partial solar eclipse. Some observers will witness a ring of fire around the moon from within a narrow path of annularity. And I got to witness that last year, so I guess up here in America, we're not going to be seeing much. However, a comet last seen in the Stone Age to make closest approach to Earth, the Guardian. A comet that has not been seen from Earth since the Neanderthals were alive and kicking has reappeared in the sky, with astronomers saying it might be visible to the naked eye. Comet C 2023A3 Tushchinchan Atlas was discovered by astronomers early last year and is thought to orbit the sun about every 80,000 years on a highly elongated path. This is the vast, roughly spherical region around the sun, which it has icy remnants of the formation of the solar system. The thing about comets is that the closer that they are to us, to Earth, the brighter they are. But also the closer they are to the sun, the brighter they are. So the closest approach isn't necessarily going to be the brightest. Naked eye visible comets are rare enough as it is, and this one has the potential to be amongst the brightest that we've seen in the last few decades. So it's certainly worth a go. By the looks of it, it will already be visible to the unaided eye in good conditions, and there's a chance that we will get considerably brighter. But how bright, we honestly don't know. So, as a result, from October 13th, Brown said the best chance of seeing the comet is in the late evening after sunset, looking west towards the constellation of Bootes. So in the next couple of weeks, look up in the skies. I found this article to be hysterical, so I'm not going to read it. The U.S. economy is on the cusp of another roaring 20s. And let's say they're right. They're saying there's a 50% chance that we're going to have a boom in the economy. Well, if we're mimicking the roaring 20s, then what came after that was the worst economic depression this country has ever seen. I do believe we're already in the roaring 20s. The fact that this stock market's at 40,000 points almost, when a lot of things just don't make sense, I think we're going to have the greatest depression this country has ever seen. And that's my prediction, and let's see how it ages well. I think this article's a joke. One last space article. The stuck NASA astronauts welcome SpaceX capsule that bring them home next year. The two astronauts stuck in the International Space Station since June are welcoming their new ride. The two astronauts will be rescued by SpaceX, that's Elon Musk's company. They downsized the crew of two astronauts, so they left two empty seats for Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams, who will return next year. The Dragon capsule docked in darkness as the two craft soared 265 miles above Botswana. I hope they finally get the hell out of there. I bet you they can't wait to get the hell out of space. So
I want to tell you all what you're doing is right. This is going down in history. Because nothing's going to move without us. No.
that was a clip from the port strike. Should have played that earlier. I've been following this story, and you should too. Marburg virus outbreak in Rwanda draws concern over possibility of international spread. WHO currently deems the risk of spread to nearby countries as high, but global spread low. This thing has an 88% kill rate, and it's very contagious. Make sure we pay attention. Some good news for you, my New Yorkers, and those that live in areas where they drink a lot of coffee. I have some great news if you drink coffee. Drinking 3 cups of coffee daily has shown to do a lot of great things for people. And a study of more than 170,000 people, okay, there's a lot of discovery being done now on different products and things that we eat and drink. Drinking too much coffee has a reputation of being harmful, but a new study says having 3 cups of coffee a day can lower the risk of developing more than one cardiometabolic disease. Moderate consumption of caffeine can offer a protective effect against developing multiple cardiometabolic diseases, including 2 types of diabetes, coronary heart disease, and stroke. The study was published in the Endocrine Society Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism on September 17th. The study gathered data from 172,315 people to analyze their caffeine intake, and further 188,000 people to analyze their tea and coffee intake. Participants filled out a survey based on their diets and health history. At the onset of the study, none of the participants had any cardiometabolic diseases. After nearly 12 years, 1,300 people from the caffeine intake group and 1,385 people from the tea and coffee group had developed them. Those who drank 3 cups of coffee daily had nearly a 50% reduced risk for developing multiple cardiometabolic diseases compared to those who didn't have any caffeine or had less than 100 milligrams per day. Those who still consumed 200 to 300 milligrams of caffeine from a mix of tea and coffee or just tea also saw a reduced risk at around 40%. While the benefits of coffee are still being discovered, there have been some misconceptions surrounding the drink that have been proven or debunked over the years. And for those of you that hate Muslims, you can thank them for discovering coffee. Yeah, coffee. Last video here, I think was on TMZ. This guy died away from American Pickers. He passed away. Diki Mutombo passed away. Bruce Willis is struggling with his health dramatically. For those of you that care, I thought this was a cool video. A ring collapse during Monday Night Raw on the WWE, I believe it is. WWF. WWE. Look at this. The entire ring. Nah, was it staged? I don't know. They act in, wrestling. This is Bek Lover. Make sure you sign up. Hit the subscribe button. I gather all the news. I make it condensed. I give you my opinion, my analysis. I keep you in the know while you're on the go. Take me along for your rides to work when you're stuck in traffic or if you're just bored. I invite your comments. I do respond, and I appreciate your support. Thank you so much as always. This is your boy Bek Lover. We live in interesting times right here on the Bek Lover Podcast.